We didn't establish she was saying right, did we?
No.
Who are we talking to?
Ourselves. But clearly not well planned.
We're keeping that intro because it's funny.
Welcome to the first episode of Marvelous March.
We would insert the Avengers music here, but we don't
Copyright infringement.
Copyright infringement is a thing.
Also, that would require a lot of editing.
Copyright infringement's just easier.
Yep. So much like what we did in October with our family-friendly Halloween reviews and recaps, for the entire month of March, we're going to be talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is based off of characters and stories from the pages of Marvel Comics, which started under the name of Timely Comics almost 90 years ago. If you can believe it.
Still going strong.
Still going strong. Now, before we go any further, though, I do want to take a moment to thank all the writers, artists, letterers, colorists, and all other positions at Marvel Comics, both past and present. Without you guys, we would not have any Marvel Comics. But especially like to thank the grandfathers of Marvel, men like Martin Goodman, Carl Burgos, Bill Everett, Joe Simon, Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby, and of course, Stanley Lieber, aka Stan the Man Lee.
Excelsior.
Yep.
Excelsior.
Much like Walt Disney and his 9 old men, without these men, we wouldn't have had, who laid the foundation for Marvel, we would not have anything. So, thank you to them, especially to Stan Lee. You will be missed.
Yeah.
Alright. So, the MCU is a pulp culture juggernaut, with a...
Reference. Sorry.
Technically different universe.
Well,
No.
actually, they merge now.
They merge now, and
We're working on
the
it.
Juggernaut is a Marvel character, so it works.
Yep.
Thank you.
So it is actually the highest grossing film franchise in history. It earned over $32 billion at the worldwide box office, with 35 films and 30 TV shows telling an interconnected story of superheroes. Now,
Bravo!
So, just putting this out there, what is everybody's favorite MCU film?
Ooh, good question. So, in case it's not blaringly obvious, we put Justin in charge of Marvelous March. So, he has written the script. So, any questions he asked, we did not know before recording this. So,
He's actually read the comics.
yes.
Yes.
I've dabbled a little bit.
I've seen the occasional scene pop up online.
But going to what is my
Cool.
favorite Marvel? What was the question? Marvel
Favorite MCU film?
That is. Are we going by phases or overall
Just
general?
overall, in general.
That's so
Too
hard.
many choices.
That's so hard.
Okay. To make it easier, then, how about, since we're starting off with a lot of the first, second phase, first phase of the MCU.
When does the first phase end?
It starts with Iron Man and ends with the first Avengers movie.
The first Avengers movie.
First Avengers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, first Avengers movie.
First Avengers movie.
Captain America.
Of course.
So, with all that...
Star Spangled Man with a Plan.
Exactly. We'll be talking about him later. So obviously with all those projects, it's going to be hard to talk about everything in just 1 month, let alone just 1 hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about 2 major level Avengers and just talking about their movies. Not any cameos or any team ups like the Avengers, just their, for lack of a better word, their solo movies.
And then every March for the foreseeable future, we will just keep redoing this theme.
And we're marching to the beat of the MCU.
So, which one do we start with? Do we start with the first Avenger or the first Avengers movie?
Well, we're actually going to be... Why don't we start off with the Avenger who kicked off the MCU proper all the way back in 2008, starring Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Terrence Howard, Jon Favreau, and Jeff Bridges, the armored Avenger himself, Iron Man.
Proper. You
Also
have to throw that in there?
Yes.
You just have to smack some other people in the face there for their work.
Also known as Tony Stark, the Merchant of Death.
He prefers the War Profiteer.
I think he prefers Iron Man.
Yeah.
I present to you the Jericho. Sorry, you opened the movie with that. It's just.
I mean,
impressive.
it was a very impressive kickoff.
It was. So Iron Man was created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, Don Heck, and Jack Kirby, and first appeared in Tales of Suspense number 39 in 1962. So to briefly summarize the first Iron Man movie, Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., is the CEO of Stark Industries, a multi-billion-dollar company who makes weapons for the military. What are y'all laughing at?
Nothing.
So, and like you said, he is presenting the Jericho in Afghanistan. However, after his presentation, he is kidnapped by the terrorist organization known as the Ten Rings, and they capture him to force him to make them a Jericho missile.
And yes, this is supposed to be the Ten Rings of the Mandarin, who is introduced later. But that Mandarin is not the actual Mandarin. That's just a guy pretending to be Mandarin. It's a whole.
It's a whole thing.
We'll get to him eventually. We'll get to him.
What was his name? Trevor Slattery?
Yes.
Which supposedly he's coming back in the next installment.
Yeah, Trevor Slattery appeared in Shang-Chi and then in the Wonder Man TV show.
All right, but back to Iron Man.
That's Iron Man. So Tony said no and decided to build a suit of armor to escape his capture.
From a box of scraps.
Yep.
In a cave.
However, he used this experience to change his life around. He actually stopped the weapons and manufacturing wing of Stark Industries. He became more vulnerable with his assistant/girlfriend, Pepper Potts, and decided to make a new suit of armor to help change the world.
One could argue that Tony does have while he has a great redemption arc at the beginning, his arc goes a little too far and starts coming back around the other way a little bit.
I feel like that's basically...
It's more of a redemption circle.
More like a freaky circle.
But not a normal circle, like a freaky circle.
That's kind of Tony's whole MO throughout this whole, not only his trilogy of movies, but throughout the MCU, is that, like, he is looking for redemption, and he gets it, but
He goes too far.
He goes too far.
Or he falls back on his pattern behavior. For example, is he being Iron Man because it's a good thing to do, or because it makes him look cool?
I mean,
Porque no los dos.
Exactly. Other superheroes might, say, "Oh, I'm not Iron Man. You're." He just comes out and say, "No, I'm Iron Man."
Yeah, there is no secret identity here.
Yeah.
And then tells the government, "No, you can't have what I built."
No. However, not everyone is happy with this change of heart. His assistant, played by Jeff Bridges, named Obadiah Stane,
which is just clearly
Can
a villain
we just
name.
acknowledge that name for a second?
That's a villain name.
Yep.
Okay. Let's do a little thing on hero names versus villain names, okay? I'm going to give you a name. Peter Parker.
Hero.
Obadiah Stane.
At best, a creepy cult leader.
Yep.
Reed Richards.
Hero.
Victor Von Doom.
An evil
At
dictator.
best, an evil dictator.
So...
It's like...
And,
Thor,
spoilers.
Odin's son.
Loki.
Laufey's son.
Yeah.
So unbeknownst to no one, it actually is Obadiah Stane that actually orchestrated Tony Stark's capture. He actually builds his own suit of armor, which is based off of Tony's old suit of armor that he escaped with, and developed his own suit and called himself Ironmonger, and faces off against Tony Stark. So I think it kind of goes without saying, though, but Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I mean, Stan Lee said it himself.
Yeah.
And when the creator of the character says that person is the character, that's it. We're done. No need to recast. It's been decided for all eternity.
Yeah.
Can we also just remark Obadiah is so stupid as a villain.
Mm.
You don't kill the golden goose.
Yeah.
And what's he doing the entire movie? Trying to kill the
You
golden
exploit
goose.
them and use them elsewhere. No, that's not what you should be doing, kids. If you're listening, don't do that.
No. But yeah, Jeff Bridges actually does do a good job as Obadiah, but yeah, his plan is basically kind of like comic book villain 101, in my opinion. He's just like, I am just a bad guy. I want the CEO position for myself. Wah, wah, wah. But Tony Stark's in the way, so I'm going to kill him. He does not die. What am I going to do now? Oh, I'm going to build my own suit of armor, and you fail.
Well, I mean, also if you just think about the stupidity of Obadiah's plan, getting rid of Tony Stark does absolutely nothing for him because, let's be honest, Obadiah Stane is not as intelligent as Tony Stark. I mean, when we first meet Tony Stark, he is to take his line better, playboy, philanthropist, billionaire.
Genius billionaire playboy.
Genius billionaire playboy philanthropist.
I mean, the dude graduated MIT at 15.
He is, when we first meet him, he is living large and in charge. Very, very alcohol friendly.
He's basically if Bruce Wayne was totally unhinged.
He's Bruce Wayne if Bruce Wayne was a party boy.
Yes.
Bruce Wayne is a party boy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Bruce Wayne doesn't drink alcohol.
Okay. Bruce Wayne if Bruce Wayne was happy.
Bruce Wayne if Bruce Wayne was actually what the tabloids reported to be.
Yes.
There you go.
He is what Bruce Wayne is according to the tabloids. He is living life to the fullest, but he is also insanely intelligent. He manages to be inebriated like at least 60% of the time when you first meet him, and he's still the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah. He can still carry on like a coherent, he actually, in the third film, he is a keynote speaker. He develops a whole speech on a technical marvel, and he is still plastered.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. And then, obviously, after his capture, he decides to change his ways. He actually doesn't necessarily stop drinking completely, but he does limit his alcohol consumption.
He does. He starts to make more responsible decisions. And
Yes.
with each installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with each movie that he was in, I think it's fair to say that as time progressed, Tony grew up.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment.
I mean,
because by his last movie, he's a dad, he's got a kid, he's trying to make smart decisions. Albeit he does let his child extort him for popsicles, but still.
And he does become the guy who makes
the self-sacrificing call.
Yeah. So yeah, and then obviously at the time, Iron Man was a huge hit. To be honest, I think a lot of it had to do with it didn't, we kind of talked about this or touched on this a little bit ago, but it did not feel like the typical superhero movie.
It didn't.
It seemed more like just a straight up action revenge thriller movie.
Well, I think it had also been that it wasn't a standard superhero movie. It read more like an action movie. And it was a packed, hard-hitting cast. I mean, everybody who was in that film gave 110%. It really showed. Everybody performed well. The chemistry was good. The writing was good. The comedic timing was great. Mm-hmm. It was Robert Downey Jr.'s big return to Hollywood, which, people had been waiting for.
Yeah.
And it came at a right time. I mean, what were the superhero movies we had right before that? I mean, not to disparage anyone else in the Marvel franchise.
Well, the movie that actually, it's not really one-to-one comparison, but the movie that came out the same year from the rival company DC was The Dark Knight. But before that... I know
you like that one. It's not my favorite.
But before that, it was Batman Begins. We're also having a slew of X-Men sequels.
Yeah.
And The Amazing Spider-Man also came out like a little while after that.
But they all kind of read the same. It was like superhero, secret identity, broody, emotional, action. For some reason, the guy is always in a bad mood, always upset. No one cracks a joke.
Also, and this is in comics, the villains don't really die that often. They come back around. Even if they do die, they come back around.
They come back. We write them back.
Heroes, villains, everyone dies and comes back at least 3 times a week.
Except for Uncle Ben and Bruce Wayne's parents, but let's not talk about that.
But, so, even in the Batman movies, it's like, oh, we defeated the Joker. Is he dead? No, he's just locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is the Riddler dead? No, locked up.
Well, for me, it's like...
Obadiah Stane, we killed him. He's dead.
Done, we're done.
That's it.
I think what it was, and this could just be me projecting, but I know that, like, I did not enjoy Batman Begins. I did not enjoy The Dark Knight Rises. I did not enjoy the second installment of the Spider-Man franchise. I mean, it was just, like, too serious. We were being too serious. This is a movie about a character that dresses up in a costume and takes on a big bad character, and in the comic books, most of the time they do it with a quippy pun. And we're gonna be serious about this. You wanna be serious about this.
No.
Takes Batman. You are literally dressed as a bat. You are a billionaire with a B dressed as a bat.
Now, granted...
Because you didn't seek therapy.
This is a problem I have with a lot of adaptations for Batman, other comic book movies, when they become too serious. And I grant you, Batman is a very serious person, despite the ridiculousness of what he wears. But it's because it's funny. He is living in a madhouse.
I mean, but...
Everyone in Gotham is insane.
They are.
Yep.
And he's trying to be the straight man for the audience. And it's just funny seeing him react to the ridiculousness of everyone else.
But, that... And I know, we're going to get back to Marvel here in a minute, but side tangent here for the Batman franchise. I'm sure when we cover Batman later this year, we'll have a side tangent to Marvel. But side tangent to Batman real quick. This is a great reason for why name.
Harley Quinn?
Nope, Michael Keaton versus Christian Bale as Batman.
Okay.
I will watch Michael Keaton again and again and again and again and again. Why? Because it was funny. Yes, it was serious. And yes, we had the mysteriousness and the anger and the everything else and the broodiness. But we also had humor. It was fun. And I feel like before Iron Man, they stopped being fun. The last fun superhero movie, and I'm using that in air quotes. You can't see that because we recorded this, not video, but superhero movie, the last fun one before Iron Man, was Disney Sky High, which is a great superhero movie. It needs more people to talk about it. This is not the platform, or not the time to do it, but that was the last, fun superhero movie.
Unfortunately, the Hollywood system kind of just sees what's popular and then kind of focuses all their efforts to make it seem like the thing that's popular.
Copy.
So
Slenderization is real.
So when they saw that Batman Begins and The Dark Knight was doing well with making a more serious tone, they decided to change it up. But regardless of whether that actually works for the character. But anyway, back to Iron Man for a minute.
But they made it work with Iron Man because he's not all serious.
No.
He's funny!
He's a party guy. He's funny.
Yeah. But obviously Iron Man was a huge hit, and it kind of redefined the superhero action movie for a little bit. And then we got to the end credits scene, where Nicholas Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, meets up with Tony Stark and says the most faithful line, "I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative."
And that kicked it off, boys and girls. That was the start of everything.
That started it all, and everyone was just like blew their minds because for comic book fans, we thought we would never see this day, ever. All right, so that's the first Iron Man. For Iron Man 2, we see Tony Stark, like we said, he kind of goes back and forth. In Iron Man 2, we see Tony Stark has reverted back to his playboy and partying ways, but it isn't for the reasons that you think. The arc reactor that he created in the first movie that helped him survive is slowly killing him, and he cannot find a solution to the problem. So he's like, I can't find the solution to the problem. This thing is killing me. I'm going to die. I'm going to go out with a party.
And so he starts drinking, partying.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff. And a partridge in a pear tree.
However, the son of a disgruntled employee, Ivan Vanko, played by Mickey Rourke, creates his own arc reactor and creates essentially whip-like lightsabers to fight against Tony Stark and calls himself Whiplash. And then another arms dealer rival, Justin Hammer, played by Sam Rockwell, aims to take down Tony while he's spiraling out of control. We are also introduced to War Machine, this time played by Don Cheadle, who's replacing Terrence Howard.
So much better than Iron Patriot.
Yes.
After Rhodey, steals Tony's stuff.
Although, to be fair, Tony needed to be stopped because he was drinking and partying in the Iron Man suit.
Okay.
And destroying his own house.
Great motive.
It's his house.
Great motive. That's still robbery.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because the government said it was okay.
So some highlights from the second Iron Man. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of blocked out most of the second Iron Man movie because
it's hammer time.
It kind of fell into what I think we could call the curse of the triple movie, where the first one's great, the second one, meh, and the third one, bam, hits you like a freight train.
I think the main problem with the second movie is that it tried to do too much.
Yeah.
Like, it was setting all this stuff up, it was trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do this, trying to do that, and it just...
But
all the pieces didn't really seem to work.
Some good parts include, but are not limited to, Phil Coulson.
Yes.
Phil Coulson is always a good part.
Phil Coulson was actually in the first Iron Man.
Sam Rockwell does an amazing job, as he always does. And he's one of those actors who, for a lot of our childhood, I'll go with childhood, because we were kids when the first Charlie's Angels movie came out. He plays a villain so well, so smooth. Mm-hmm. But now we're getting older, and he has started playing more of the hero type, and it's a little weird, but he's doing them both so well. Very smooth smooth actor.
Well, in this movie though, he's kind of playing like the bumbling idiot to Tony Stark, even though that's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's kind of hard not to be the bumbling idiot to the guy whose IQ.
In the World Expo, and he's presenting his armor suits, he comes off to he does like a really bad dance scene to Staying Alive.
Yeah. I think the number one happy takeaway I remember from the second movie is that it really cemented Tony and Pepper's relationship. Mm-hmm. Like, there was not a doubt anymore. Like, they're together.
Yeah.
All's good.
Also, S.H.I.E.L.D. was a running joke throughout the movie because Coulson kept saying the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was actually in the first one.
It was?
Yeah, that was in the first one.
What Strategic
Homeland Intervention Logistics Division.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
Thank you, Peggy Carter.
But also another highlight is that we are introduced to Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff as the Black Widow.
Yes, strike that. Forget Tony and Pepper. That's the best part. Especially her fight with Happy.
Yeah.
Which is not really a fight, it's a training montage. But it just... The introduction for the Black Widow was handled so well. That I loved. I was all on board for a Black Widow movie, and yet we didn't get one until
2018.
Much later.
Yeah.
And of course, there is another problem to be shown with this one. That is, we're introduced to Hammer. He's not. He doesn't die, but he doesn't really come up ever again. I don't think after this movie.
Yeah.
Whiplash dies.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's like, great character. Maybe,
but
we
don't know.
Nope, he won't ever return because he's dead.
Now,
So-
I'm just gonna say this though. Despite the fact that Sam Rockwell is a great actor, Mickey Rourke, hasn't really had that great many roles in recent memory. But to be honest, neither one of them was as good as Obadiah Stane, though.
Yeah. Once again, the curse of the 3 movie. The first one's good. The second one tries to live up to the first one and pale. It's like watching the Oceans series. Like Oceans 11 was good. Oceans 12, meh. So we had to go all out for Oceans 13.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that could be just due because of Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges, he's a great actor. He's a great character actor. He does a really good job. Also, this movie not only suffers from the trilogy, but it kind of served as like a stepping stone for like a world building, but the story suffers a lot.
Yeah.
Plot development. We sacrificed a lot for the plot.
Yeah.
And not even the plot of this movie, the plot of other movies.
Yeah. So, but now let's finally move on to the last of the Iron Man trilogy, Iron Man 3.
Which is actually good.
Yes.
So in this film, we focus on Tony's PTSD from both the first Avengers film and as well as the previous 2 Iron Man films. On top of that, a new terrorist called the Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley, is responsible for a mysterious string of bombings all across the world.
But he's not.
We'll get to that, but we already mentioned it already. But on top of all those, another disgruntled associate of Tony named Aldrich Killian, played by Guy Pearce, and Maya Hansen, played by Rebecca Hall, create the Extremis virus, which on the surface sounds like a good thing because it grants the user healing regenerative abilities, even regrowing lost limbs. However, it heats the body to extreme temperatures to the point where they might even explode.
Pause for a tangential lesson here, boys and girls. Notice how many times the villain turns out to be a disgruntled former blah 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 of the main character. Basically, here we see the lesson of be kind to people, especially on your rise to power, because they might just knock you down on your way down.
I think the reasoning is because it increases your body's metabolism, causing your body to repair itself.
Not related to the tangential
but
line.
that causes you to heat up. I think that's why.
Either way, if it's not
It fits well enough with the science so advanced, it might as well be magic.
Yeah.
I'm here giving happy, wholesome lessons, and they're just blah, blah, blah.
So, my biggest problem with this movie was the reveal of the Mandarin being not the Mandarin. Like, so Colin hinted at it at the beginning, but, the Mandarin is not the terrorist. Aldrich Killian is the main head of this plot, and the Mandarin is actually a drugged out actor named Trevor Slattery.
But Mandarin sounds better for a villain name than Trevor Slattery.
Now,
also, this is probably a reference to Tony Stark. Because he was recovering from drug addiction.
Yeah.
Well, they kept him drugged in order to play the character of the Mandarin.
Yeah,
But still, like...
Anywho!
But in the movie, they have, like, these videos that are reminiscent of, like, Osama bin Laden after 9/11 happened, and all this other stuff, and it made him really creepy and scary. And it was definitely a callback to the first Iron Man film when, it was all about terrorism and the rise of, fear and terror and escalation. And then what was it? Oh, it's just an out-of-work actor. Complete illusion? Shattered. You had all this build-up for nothing.
granted, they start the movie with us meeting Killian.
Yeah, but
And so we know he's probably the big bad anyway.
If you were paying attention, boys and girls.
Yeah. Also, this movie does focus heavily on PTSD, which a lot of superhero movies, even now, don't really focus on that much.
They brush over it, which
Yeah.
is a good... I think that is another thing about the Marvel franchise that a lot of people really liked. I mean, yes, it's funny, it's humorous, we have joy, but we also have action, we have seriousness, but they touch on topics that a lot of other superhero franchises deem uncomfortable. I mean, the topic of PTSD is an uncomfortable topic.
Yeah.
The topic of, survivor's guilt is uncomfortable. A lot of the topics, especially in the phase 2 and 3 Marvel movies, it gets uncomfortable a lot of the time. But that's because it's by normalizing it and talking about it that these characters overcome it, which is one of the ways that people do overcome that in real life is, they seek out people who have gone through similar things. Now, Tony, you're kind of on your own there. There's not a lot of people who did what Tony did. But talking about it is better than blowing up all of your Iron Mans in your house.
Now,
Well, he did that mostly for Pepper, but...
I know, but still.
Now, jumping forward a little quick in this PTSD conversation. Because in Captain America 3 or 2, he actually goes to one of those meetings.
2.
So Captain is actively working through PTSD, whereas Tony
Is actively partying.
is trying to forget about it.
Yeah.
Drink himself until he's happy. Fake it till you make it.
It's his coping mechanism.
Yeah. Also,
Not a great...
you called him Captain. I know the name is Captain America. No one calls him Captain. Actually, strike that. Phil Coulson calls him Captain, and that's the only person that it's
Shield
okay
agents
with.
call him Captain.
But it's Cap. It's Cap. Cap.
But yeah, so, but yeah, that's actually, since Tori brought it up, Tony does blow up. So in the beginning of the movie, we see Tony is dealing with his PTSD by not necessarily partying, but tinkering, keeping himself busy. He's building more and more suits and trying to protect himself and Pepper. And
the little blue marble.
But unfortunately, during one incident where he actually is having a bad dream, the suit actually one of his suits tries and attack Pepper, who's trying to wake him up, and so that resulted in Pepper's, kind of resenting the suits that Tony made, even though this is the only real way that he knows how to deal with this.
Once again, therapy.
Can't stop working, because if I stop working, I'll start thinking. If I start thinking, I'll start thinking about things I don't want to think about.
Yep.
Once again, how much time could be saved if these characters would just go to therapy?
I mean, he has the money for the...
Exactly! It's not even an issue of money!
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you have a superhero and it's like, you probably really should see a therapist rather than do what you're doing. And you're like, but you know what? You're a poor kid from Brooklyn whose aunt is barely making ends meet to put you through school. Batman and Iron Man don't have that problem.
Peter Parker, who is actively poor more often than not.
Yeah.
He might be rich for like a week and then something bad will happen.
Yeah.
But he's always struggling. He doesn't have money for therapy. Iron Man has money for therapy. He has money to
Iron Man has enough money to send every member of the Avengers to therapy. Multiple times.
He's just too proud.
He just won't do it.
Yeah. But there's also a huge part of the movie where he's dealing with, he has to go to Home Depot to essentially buy the stuff in order to break into the Mandarin's compound, without his suit. So it really shows that Tony Stark is more than just a man in a suit.
Yeah, I know. We're connected.
This is also where we are introduced to, his name is Harley, I think?
Yeah,
Yep,
Harley.
Harley, though.
Harley, who will not show up again until
Until
Endgame.
Endgame.
Unfortunately. If you wanted to do like a TV show, would have been interesting to watch Harley grow up.
Tony gives him all that stuff at the end of the movie, but no, we're just going to forget about him.
As my friends watch.
It's limited edition. It's a Dora suit.
Once again, we're here. He is dealing with PTSD out the wazoo. His are they married yet? Or is this still just his girlfriend?
This is still
Not
just his
married
girlfriend.
yet.
Okay, his girlfriend has been taken by the bad guy. She's most likely gonna die. Nothing he's doing is working. He loses his suit. He almost freezes to death. Thankfully, this weird little kid takes him in and helps him. He steals the kid's watch, makes a funny quip, and you know what? He's still humorous about it. It's still funny. Why? Because it is.
Also, just going to...
Like, now would be the time for him to be Broody McBruderson, which is, fun fact, that's what I commonly call Batman when I'm trying to make a point about how the emotional outbursts are not needed. But this would be the time for Tony to be like the most emotional wreck of emotional wrecks. And instead, he steals a kid's watch, makes a joke, and goes, "We're connected."
And also, but however, when the henchman actually takes the watch and breaks it, he's like, "Okay, you die first."
Yeah. I mean, he still has the serious moments, but it's still funny. Which is, once again, why Marvel's here and DC is here. I know, once again, you can't see my hands, but Marvel's on the top floor.
Marvel
is on the top floor. DC is somewhere in the middle.
I would argue against that point, but anyway.
For this point in time, especially this point in time with regards to movies, yes.
But let's also, and then again, the villains of this movie were not very good. Or not very memorable.
Well, I always say.
Except for the Mandarin, but that was a really, 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 really bad blunder on their part.
Well,
And
I say,
also...
if you want to root for the heroes, you watch Marvel. If you want to root for the villains, you watch DC.
And also, spoiler alert, none of the villains will be returning because they're dead.
And none of them made it to Endgame either.
So that's unfortunate. I would have loved to see an army of lava men.
Just wait till the Fantastic Four.
But another problem I had with the story is that big moment where, I don't know what he calls it, but the protocol where he blows up all
The clean
suits.
slate protocol.
Stupid.
And it was like, okay, that's a nice thing. But literally in the next movie, he already has like 40 suits.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this was to play.
Once again, I tinker because if I tinker, I'm not thinking. If I start thinking, I'm going to be thinking about things I don't want to think about.
Yeah.
Instead of going to
Yeah, he kind of reverts back to his old ways when he creates the Iron Legion for Age of Ultron, but we'll talk about that at a later time.
I think it's time we start talking
Can we
about
now go to
Captain America.
The Star-Spangled Man with the Plan?
Yes!
Yes, let's talk about the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan. My favorite Avenger and overall Marvel character, Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America.
Steve, I'm going to commit fraud against the army, Rogers.
So
It was for a good reason.
Yeah.
Still fraud.
It was a good reason.
So Captain America was created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby and first appeared in Captain America Comics #1 in 1940, where he debuted with one of the most iconic comic book covers of all time, Captain America punching Adolf Hitler in the face.
And it is mentioned in the movie.
Yes.
And we see it happen.
I knocked that Adolf Hitler over 200 times. But keep this in mind, folks. When Captain America was first published back in 1940, the U.S. had not entered World War II yet. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor happened a year later. So Captain America was fighting the Nazis even before the U.S. military was.
Quick question.
Can I bring up Dracula?
No, I'm not going to bring up Dracula right now. That was last week. No, my question is, do we know the heritage of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby?
Yeah, they're Jewish immigrants. I know that.
So what? I'm just saying.
I was making a joke.
Okay, all right.
I was making a joke. So
You gotta fight the Nazis.
you gotta fight the Nazis. Which is why, well, I'll get to that at a later point, when Steve said Hail Hydra a couple years ago, it really made everybody mad.
Yes.
But anyway, so in the comic, we see frail Steve Rogers become a super soldier after receiving an experimental serum.
And when we say frail boys and girls, we mean like
The dude was 90 pounds.
soaking wet.
If you just
A
push
strong
him,
breeze would kill him.
Yeah, I mean, they say in the movie constantly, it's like, Jesus, give that kid a sandwich.
I mean, once again, a strong breeze. Just whoosh.
So oddly enough, though, Joe Simon was doing an interview about Captain America, and they said the origin was the weakest part of the character, and he and Kirby didn't put much thought into it, and they just wanted to get to the action.
fair enough.
Well, you know what? Sometimes the beginning is not the important part of the story.
Exactly. Also in the comic, we are introduced to his kid sidekick, Bucky Barnes, and his arch enemy, the Red Skull.
That is James Buchanan Barnes. Thank you.
Now, in the movie, is very touched upon with some details changed. One of the biggest changes is that Bucky is not a kid anymore. He is the same age as Steve, and they are childhood friends who are grown up together.
Works better for the story.
Yeah. Bucky in the movie is played by Sebastian Stan.
Yep.
And in the movie, he is the one that is drafted to fight in World War II under the 107th Division, and he is Steve's biggest defender.
And that is something that was in the movies that a lot of people didn't catch until several years later when, somebody like us who does, movie reviews and things like that realized, they went back and looked at his numbers and his enlistment stuff for the movie and realized that he didn't volunteer like he told Steve he did. He was drafted.
Yep.
Which, I mean, for the time being, your options pretty much were be drafted or volunteer. Those were your options.
Yeah.
You either went to war or you were a frail little nothing who stayed home.
Yeah. So, but Steve desperately tried to join the armed forces in 5 separate times, saying that he was from 5 different cities. And actually, in the movie, Bucky finds one. He's like, "Oh, you're from Paramus now." I know it's legal to lie in uniform, but seriously, Jersey, really? In case you haven't noticed, they're native New Yorkers.
Yeah.
So in the first movie, we have Chris Evans, who is playing Steve Rogers and Captain America. We mentioned Sebastian Stan already as Bucky, Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter.
Woo woo!
And then we are also introduced to Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull.
Also, side note, because Hugo Weaving is also in the Lord of the Rings franchise, there is a slight cameo by one Richard Armitage, who will go on to play Thorin Oakenshield in The Hobbit, just so we can connect all of our fandoms together.
Yeah, he is the traitor who blows up the facility where Steve Rogers is, and kills Dr. Erskine, who is played by Stanley Tucci.
Such a weird I always forget Stanley Tucci's in that movie.
He's the scientist.
Yes! But, okay, here's the thing. Stanley Tucci, I know we're supposed to be talking about Captain America and Chris Evans, but Stanley Tucci is an amazing actor. Every time I've seen him in a movie, like, he completely manifests the character fully, and you forget that it's Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, Dr. Erskine Stanley Tucci is not the same as Burlesque Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
Which is not the same as Beethoven Stanley Tucci. Which is not the same as Hunger Games Stanley Tucci.
Or Devil Wears Prada Stanley Tucci.
Or Easy A Stanley Tucci. I mean, he just... All these different versions of Stanley Tucci, and they're all amazing.
And something that I do want to point out is that Dr. Erskine really takes Steve under his wing and kind of was like mentoring him to basically be like, he said his words that set Steve on his path. It's like, stay who you are. Don't not a perfect soldier, but a good man. And it's very much like what another character from the first Iron Man, Dr. Yinsen, who was another captor, and his dying words to Tony was, "Don't waste your life. Do not waste this opportunity."
And I'm just going to now point out that you forgot a character.
I did.
And a very important character who combines both of these men.
Oh.
And
right.
I'm not talking about Peggy Carter, although she does.
We have Howard Stark.
Tony's dad.
Unfortunately, I do not have who played him in my notes, unfortunately.
Dominic Cooper.
So yeah.
And yes, that's the Dominic Cooper from the Mamma Mia franchise.
Yes. Howard Stark is a major player in the first Captain America movie.
He's working on the flying car of the future.
Also,
and it doesn't stay afloat.
Also, I'm going to point this out. It's more in later iterations of Howard Stark, but it is really weird that the MCU is done by the Disney company, and Howard Stark is very much modeled after Walt Disney.
You don't say.
Is it really that weird?
It's a little weird.
You don't say.
I mean, his World Expo video in the second Iron Man is very much like Walt's introduction to Epcot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, makes you wonder, are there secrets in the Disney map that we're not seeing?
So something else I also want to
Does
point out.
Does it make an element has been discovered?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord. Then that's a whole other can of worms.
Disneyum.
Some things I do want to point out about the first Captain America movie. They're not really plot details or anything, just little details that I've really loved. When the Red Skull, at the beginning of the movie, the Red Skull...
That's the bad guy.
Yes. He actually goes into Norway looking for the Tesseract, which we now know is the Space Stone.
That's an important tool we'll need later.
Yes. And when he finds it, he says, "And the Führer dideth for trinkets in the desert," which is a callback and a reference to Raiders of the Lost Ark, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't we have an Indiana Jones and Captain America crossover yet?
Because we can't afford both of those characters in one movie.
They're both owned by Disney. We can have a flashback sequence.
Yes, but we can't afford it.
Do you really want to digitally remake Young?
Yeah, who would play Indy?
Well, the one that could play him is now dead.
R.I.P.
It is also very weird that so two members of Cap's team in the movie, which are called the Howling Commandos, by the way.
Which is a great name.
Yep. Is Dum Dum Dugan, played by Neil McDonough, and then James Montgomery Falsworth, who is played by J.J. Field. It's a little weird that Dum Dum Dugan is very much modeled his look after Teddy Roosevelt, and James Montgomery looks very much like Errol Flynn.
I mean, that's an interesting observation. I don't think it changes.
Oh, no, it doesn't change anything.
Also, let's look at it this way. If Captain America has punched Hitler in the face 240 times.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying that if you told me that, like, the ghost of Teddy Roosevelt inhabited the body of somebody and then went on to fight the Nazis, that would not be the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
It's in the Marvel Universe. It's probably happened at some point.
It would actually make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And especially, like, for the Howling Commandos and that kind of thing is they were working to image them after figures that inspired great loyalty, great patriotism, great, we can win this, we can do this. I mean, Teddy Roosevelt, speak softly, carry a big stick.
Mm-hmm.
Errol Flynn, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Also, can we just note, after the super soldier serum is given to Captain America, it is a success.
Yep.
Do we then try to figure out how to recreate it?
Yes.
With the guy? No.
No, we
What
send
do-
him off.
We send him off. To fight? Nope. What do? We send him off
To sell
to be
war
an
bonds.
actor.
Yep.
Of all the choices, is you have a super soldier. Actual super soldier.
And you use him for a mascot.
And you're using him for a mascot.
Although, to be fair, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have gotten the song Star Spangled Man with a Plan.
Which was
Granted. But
okay, now, not related to the story in any way, shape, or form, but probably
Also,
my
Red
favorite
Skull
little
loves
bit
his
of
movies.
factoid trivia about Chris Evans being cast as Captain America. For those of you who don't know, Chris Evans actually has a dance background. He's actually very nimble on his feet. And he got the part because he was one of the few actors who could do the stunts and the jumps and the, like, vault over this giant piece of whatever and still look like a Hollywood superstar.
Yeah.
Because those are not easy things to do.
Yeah. And going back to the Howling Commandos for a minute, and it's just like, not only is it people that inspired, confidence, but it's also different people. Like, we have Dum Dum Dugan, we have James Montgomery Fields, who is British, we have the Asian American, we have the African American, and we have the French dude.
Yeah. It's literally the Mod Podge coming together to take down
Hydra.
It is, the marketing writes itself.
Yeah. And then also, last detail I want to point out before we move on to the second movie. The director of this movie, Joe Johnston, also directed another World War II era superhero movie for Disney. Can you guess what it is? The underappreciated Rocketeer.
Oh, that's a blast from the past.
Yes, it is a great movie.
It's been a few years since I have seen that, but I remember enjoying it.
also is worth noting, both villains in this movie will make a reappearance.
Later
Yes.
on.
Captain's villains tend to come back.
But in ways you honestly did not expect.
No.
That actually is a pretty good segue to the second movie, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So in this movie, Captain America is still dealing with adjusting to the new, this new time period and the new world and everything.
He was a capsicle.
Yes. Spoiler: after his last mission, defeating the Red Skull, he was frozen in ice for 90 years and then rethawed into the modern world.
Like some people think of Walt Disney.
Yes.
Are you suggesting that the Captain America series is just Jack Kirby and what's the other guy? Joe Simon's commentary on the life of Walt Disney? Are you suggesting that?
No, I'm just poking fun.
Okay. It would be funny if it was though.
Although at the end of the first movie, and Cap is found in Times Square, it is very sad because he actually does.
He had a date.
He had a date, and he says that he's like, and Nick Fury is just like, "You all right?" And Cap just looks really sad. He's like, "I had a date," and that was his first date ever.
Yeah, he misses his first date with the amazing Peggy Carter.
But in the second movie, he's still dealing with, a man at a time. A lot of his friends and family are dead, and Peggy Carter, unfortunately, is suffering from Alzheimer's, so she doesn't really remember who he is half the time. However, he is...
Howard is gone. The Howling Commandos are gone.
Bucky's
gone. Peggy
For
will
now.
soon be gone. Spoiler alert.
Yep. So he is... But
Remember,
he's still...
this is comics. No one stays dead forever.
Except for a few. But he is still serving under S.H.I.E.L.D., and however, on the latest mission with the Black Widow, he discovers something that kind of sets him off, and everything is not what it seems, and spoiler alert, Hydra is still well alive. However, it's been hiding under S.H.I.E.L.D.'s nose, and a lot of upper echelon of S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually Hydra. So in other words, Hydra is S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra, and it's a dark mirror.
Which, there's one problem I have with that. Peggy Carter is alive. Okay? If Hydra were in the upper echelons, was trying to work into the upper echelons of S.H.I.E.L.D., she would have found them out and dealt with them.
They were very smart. They waited till she was older, phasing out, caring more about a family.
They also...
all that nonsense.
Anyone that actually got too close, they also dealt with via the Winter Soldier.
Also, and this, I thought of this earlier, but Sebastian Stan, that sounds like a superhero.
It does! Which is probably one of the reasons why he's so good at it.
Yeah. So, and spoiler alert, the Winter Soldier is Bucky Barnes.
It's Bucky!
It turns out that Arnim Zola, who was the Red Skull's right hand from the first movie, found him and pretty much created him into the ultimate killing machine for Hydra. And has been killing people for years. Spoiler alert again, he was also the one responsible for killing Howard Stark, as well as, it's not really confirmed, but it is hypothesized that he was the one that also killed JFK in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, he totally is the one who killed JFK.
Yeah. So...
I'm sorry, that was theorized? I thought we had that confirmed.
well, no one actually at the MCU actually said that, but yeah. So, unlike a lot of people going in, I knew who the Winter Soldier was, so that wasn't really a surprise. But in all honesty, though, I think this one is a lot better than Captain America: The First Avenger.
This one did not suffer the curse of the 3-movie franchise.
No.
This one, each one built upon better, and I think that is because, unlike a certain Ferris-based superhero. Wow, I'm so glad I'm the only one who got that joke. Brownie points to anyone who's listening to this who got that joke. Anywho, other than a Ferris is iron-based, Iron Man,
Iron Man.
I made a joke. Anywho, aside from Iron Man, with each of Captain's movies, he learned. He came away with knowledge that he previously didn't have. And instead of going back to his old ways, he kept being a good person and kept moving forward to do the right thing, which is what keeps him going.
Also, let's be honest, the first Captain America movie suffered from the
world
backstory.
Building problems.
Remember, the backstory was the worst part of writing this, because we just wanted to get to the action.
Yeah. Once it got to the action, it got really, really good. Also...
And we don't have to do that now, because we're already in. He's already Captain America.
Yes.
We're just...
And I feel like Captain America's movies were better for setting up the next installment of the Marvel franchise than Iron Man's were. Like, we have Winter Soldier, the next movie is Civil War.
Yes.
We had, you have Captain America, the next one is Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
You had, and then the third one, which was, I'm escaping on the name.
Third one for what? What was Captain America: Civil War?
That was the third?
That was the third one, yeah.
Oh, well, anyway. But then Civil War led us to all the issues that we had with,
With Infinity War.
Yeah. I felt like it worked better for building the world.
Yeah. Also, Winter Soldier put Cap in, that man at a time setting so well, and it kind of, it's still a blast from the past from him. Hydra's still around, but it didn't do it in such a way where it's like it was just rehashing, the Red Skull came back, now we must fight him again. But he's fighting a war in the shadows against people that are essentially trying to betray him left and right.
Now, another thing is, because he's a man out of time, he's learning stuff. So when he learns stuff, the audience learns it.
Yeah.
It's great for storytelling to have someone who doesn't know what's going on, because you can tell them and it sounds...
And it works. The fact that it was a great way to integrate, as we moved along in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and we introduced storylines like the Guardians of the Galaxy, who I'm sure we will have their own episode. The Guardians of the Galaxy are very pop culturally based.
Mm-hmm.
And Captain America being a capsicle for what, 70 years?
90 years.
90?
They said that in the movie it was 90 years.
Okay, alright.
It changed between
comics. In the comics it was 70 years, but in the MCU, because it took place in the 2010s, it's 90 years.
That would have made Peggy Carter like 120.
I'm sorry, you're right, it is 70 years. I'm sorry.
70.
70 years.
Thank you. Because Peggy Carter was in her late 20s, early 30s when Cap went into the ice. That would make her like 120.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Nick Fury said, you've been asleep, Cap, for almost 70 years. Yeah,
I'm sorry. 70. Thank you. Okay. So, 70 years. That's a lot of pop culture. And I mean, there was a lot of pop culture after the 1940s.
I mean,
pop culture pretty much popped.
I mean, Steve has his own little notebook about stuff.
He has a notebook that he writes down, and those are some of my favorite moments when we see those in the movies where he writes it down, because you get to see the list of what he's watching, and it's like, what's he working on now? Oh, Star Wars. Ooh, original or remake.
Well, it's funny. It just said Star Trek/Wars, or like
I feel like
Berlin, Rise and Fall, but also
question mark.
But also we are introduced to even though he loses Bucky. We are introduced to his other best friend, Sam Wilson, a.k.a. Falcon.
A.k.a. on your left.
On your left.
On your left.
Why don't you take a victory lap?
Yeah. Did you take it? I assume you just took
it. Steve and Sam actually do have a really good friendship that is almost very similar to
him and Bucky.
To him and Bucky, because they both served, they have a lot of shared experiences.
And Sam is the one who invites him to the therapy group. Oh, look, when you go to therapy, your character stays a good character.
Well, you can also argue that Steve was always a good man, even despite that.
Yes, but even good men still sometimes.
But also he and Black Widow share a lot of screen time in this movie, which again furthers my theory that they should have gotten together.
No.
But that's just me.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
He could barely talk to Peggy Carter. What makes you think he could handle the Black Widow?
They have entire conversations throughout the movie. They are quippy with each other.
Because he has securely placed her in the friend zone. She is so secure in the friend zone with him that it's not even funny. Like, he knows that she has placed him in the friend zone. Like, he knows that she sees him as, oh, you're my dorky little friend who's out of time, and you've never kissed a girl, have you? That's so sad for you. And she knows that he has put her in the box of, this is my insanely attractive friend who's also 70 years younger than me, so that's just weird. And she's obsessed with trying to find me a date. Okay? They are just wonderfully platonic friends, and just thank you for that, because we need more instances in media of guys and girls just being friends. No relationships, no expectations, just friendship.
It is funny though, in that one scene where they're intimidating the Hydra guy, and you'll talk. I will tell you everything. He goes, okay. And they throw him off the roof, and then they casually revert to what about so and so for the.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, what about this girl? No.
Yeah. Well, even on
Is that the most important thing right now?
Yeah. Or it's like she constantly does that while they're on the mission in the beginning of the movie.
She has firmly placed him in the friend zone. She has no interest in him like that. She is simply just there as the friend, as the ride or die friend, to help him try to get a date. Because he's so lovingly awkward, you have no other option.
And also, Black Widow is the easiest to trust when everyone is out to kill you, because if she were out to kill you,
you'd already be dead.
So,
with the exception of one Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That's not from lack of trying, though.
No.
Yeah, and it was really sad to see Steve constantly try to get through to Bucky when he was a Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because, it's one thing to think your best friend is dead, but it's another thing to see your best friend not only alive, but trying to kill you.
So for those of you who may not know, and if you haven't, why are you listening to us for this long if you haven't gone and watched the movie yet? Seriously,
We're an hour
this.
in.
Yeah, go watch. The Winter Soldier is Hydra's evil attempt, and the way they accomplish their evil super soldier is through really not safe, sane, or healthy mind control practices.
Yeah. It's
Torture and mind control.
But they do give him also a super soldier serum.
They do give him a super soldier serum and a nice metal arm.
Yep.
But but ultimately, spoiler alert again if you haven't seen it, we do get Bucky out of Winter Soldier territory, and we do start him on the healing journey thanks to our wonderful friends in Wakanda.
Yeah.
We will discuss them later.
Well, actually, that's a very good segue into the third and final Captain America movie, which is Civil War, which Bucky is the focal point of. So, in this movie, which honestly could be called Avengers 2.5, honestly.
It could be called Avengers. Tony, really? Are you that surprised? Serious? Okay.
Okay.
You want to give the synopsis, and then I will give my viewpoint of why Tony should not have been surprised.
So, so Cap and Black Widow are leading a new team of Avengers, consisting of Scarlet Witch, Falcon, and
Ant-Man.
No, not yet. I believe that's actually it. Yeah, that's it. And then on a mission in Africa to try and find Crossbones, who is a villain that carried over from Winter Soldier. However, in an attempt to stop him, he tries to blow himself up in front of Cap, but Scarlet Witch saves him, trying to throw him up in the air, but as a result, he blows up and kills several civilians in the process.
Now, yes, we are skipping over Age of Ultron.
Yes.
Yeah, we skipped Age of Ultron.
Because this is strictly Captain America's movie. So anyway, but this results in General Thaddeus Ross, who is now the Secretary of Defense, putting down essentially this, in the comic version of the story, it was called the Superhuman Registration Act, but in the movie it is called
worse.
Which is called the Sokovia Accords, which essentially is saying that any superpowered being has to be registered with S.H.I.E.L.D. or they will face imprisonment and or being tried for crimes against humanity. However, some Avengers, like Tony, Vision, and War Machine, are completely for this, but other Avengers, like Cap, Falcon, and Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, are not for this at all.
I just think it's worth pointing out, Iron Man, War Machine,
Vision.
Black Widow, none of those have powers.
Well, not a lot.
It wouldn't really cover them anyway.
So, but anyway, this is a result of means that fractures the Avengers, and unfortunately forces them to choose sides, especially when Bucky has been accused of murdering the leader of Wakanda.
He didn't do it.
He didn't do it, but at the time he was accused of it, and this leads to his son T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, to try and find him and kill him.
R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
So, and then there's two sides are formed. They must find out who is actually responsible for the murder of T'Challa's father, as well as there's another plot point going on where there's some more super soldiers that are going to come out, and
we're going with the Lord of the Rings style naming for Wakanda here, people.
Yeah. So the two sides are for the pro-Sokovia Accords. They have Iron Man, they have War Machine, Vision, Black Widow, who kind of regrettably takes the side because she feels like if they have one hand on the wheel, they can control the narrative. And then we are introduced to the best character in the movie, Spider-Man.
Peter Parker.
Underoos?
Peter Benjamin Parker.
Tony recruits Spider-Man for their side. Oh, and Black Panther too.
Yeah.
Black Panther for the pro-Sokovia Accords.
Now, it does raise a question on... Spider-Man's whole thing is
No one knows who he is.
anonymity. So how does that work?
He just essentially wants to impress Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's just working him.
And then on the Cap side, we have Captain America, Bucky, we have Hawkeye, who comes out of retirement, we have the Scarlet Witch, and we have Ant-Man, and Falcon, who also, Ant-Man, very much like Spider-Man, just essentially wants to impress Captain America.
And he does. He impresses us all. And he does it hilariously.
But it turns out that the real villain behind at least the assassination of T'Chaka and the accusation against Bucky is a man named Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo is a survivor of Sokovia whose family was killed during Age of Ultron. We'll get to that later. But he essentially framed it to essentially pit the Avengers against each other because he wants them to feel the loss that he felt.
Now.
Fair, still murder, but...
Yeah. Now, I'm over here every time we have this discussion, and I'm just like, really, Tony? You are so surprised that Cap wouldn't be for this registration? Captain America, who punched Hitler 240 times in the face. Why would a World War II anti-Nazi super soldier not be for required registrations of certain individuals? Let's think that he's got a genius level IQ, folks. Tony Stark has a genius level IQ, and he, for the life of him, can't figure out why Captain doesn't like the Sokovia Accords.
Now,
let's think this through.
I don't think it's that he doesn't understand why Captain America doesn't want to do it, but at the same time, Tony feels guilty because they screwed up.
Royally.
Heavily.
I know we skipped over Age of Ultron, but I'm sorry. Who was Ultron's dad?
Tony.
Who's his other dad? He's got two dads, technically.
Bruce.
Yeah, okay.
Who is missing?
Yeah, who's not in this story because he's off-world.
Thor and Hulk are not in Captain America.
So,
the
royal they, meaning the rest of the Avengers, did nothing wrong. Yes, Scarlet Witch was on the side of the killer robot for a minute, but she came around.
Yeah.
She came around, okay? And that's beside the point.
Now,
the killer robot, they made a mistake? How about Tony made a mistake and now it's everyone's problem? And like Colin pointed out, Tony wouldn't have had to register on this thing because he doesn't have any superhuman abilities. He's got an intelligent brain and a suit.
Well, they consider Tony Stark a superhuman, so they have to
Well, he's on
register.
every government watch list anyway.
But I think it also points out that, again, the main person for this Accords is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, who has been trying to capture Bruce Banner ever since he was transformed into the Hulk. So Thaddeus has, he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder when it comes to superpowered beings.
Hulk, who, I'll remind the audience, is not on Earth at present time.
Yeah. They actually do make a reference to that in the movie.
They have no idea where he is.
They actually make a reference to that in the movie. He's like, do you think, where would Thor and Hulk Banner be right now? And actually, that raises the question. If Hulk and Thor were on world, which side would they be on?
Well, Hulk...
Because it's Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
Is going to be on the opposite side of him.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Also, Bruce just wants to be left alone. Getting his name put on a registry is not something that's on his high to-do list. Thor, Odin's son, is an Asgardian and barely abides by the law of Earth as it is. So I think both of them, that's why they had to be off-world, because they would have been on Cap's side.
Yep.
That's why we had to put them off-world, because had we put them on world, Iron Man would have been turned into a tin can.
Now, also, Tony's creation of Ultron is all of this is a symptom of his overcorrection.
Yes.
Once again, the character arch went too far.
He started off as the merchant of death, a war profiteer, and he wants to use his skills to protect the world. First thing he did Ultron was a idea. Whether it was good or not is debatable. Execution-wise, not really good.
Terrible.
We went full Skynet.
Also, can we just say that Ultron singing "Got No Strings on Me" was the most terrifying part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? That is just nightmare fuel. I mean, and nightmare fuel. I mean, yes, I haven't seen Morbius yet, but that is nightmare fuel. Just that, nope, nope, my brain doesn't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Also,
we'll get to Age of Ultron eventually.
Also, it is just the back and forth between Ultron and Tony Stark is funny. You know, when you have to.
You can't make a non-live out of breaking a few ways. He beat me by 1 second. But yeah. But anyway, though, yeah, it's Tony's. But it's like Tony is obviously trying to overcorrect for the Sokovia Accords, but in the comic of Civil War, it is a lot worse than this.
Oh yeah, because we have the mutants to.
But
the mutants have their own registration.
Yeah, not that. So Tony, so in the Civil War comic book that this is based off of, Tony worked with the president to create the Superhuman Registration Act. In order to combat the anti-registration side, Tony creates a clone of Thor to fight for his side, which ends up killing an actual Avenger. And he also creates the Thunderbolts, who is a team of villains to combat the anti-registration side, and also creates a prison in the negative zone, which is an alternate dimension, which brings on depression and sadness, and is also the home of a nihilist. We'll get to him later, where he houses the anti-registration people that they captured.
This is why we're Thunderbolts with a Z.
So yeah, movie Tony is pretty bad. Comic book Tony in this story is a lot worse. Oh, and by the way, when Thor comes back to Earth and finds out what Tony did, he lets him have it. He brings down all his power onto Tony and basically says, "You are but a man and I am a god. I am not dealing with you." So,
although, let's be honest, comic Thor is a bit weird. Because in the comics, Ragnarok is a legitimate thing where they die and are reborn over and over again. So there's several versions of Thor. It gets weird.
Yeah. But anyway, this movie also, is the big introduction to Spider-Man and the big introduction to Black Panther, which I will say...
Great introductions.
Yes. Chadwick Boseman played T'Challa exponentially. He played it so well that, unfortunately, since he's passed away, no one can ever... It was his first major appearance, and he did it so well that, unfortunately, no one can ever replace him as Black Panther. Mm-hmm. And also, Tom Holland is his first intro as Spider-Man. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
He's a good Spider-Man. Not too serious, not too funny.
And the thing is, he acts like a teenager, which is what Peter Parker is.
Shock and awe!
Well, sometimes, in some versions, he's an adult who is struggling to make rent and...
Well, it
depends.
When Peter Parker first got his powers, he was 15.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Now, we do have the youngest version of Aunt May I've ever seen.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Marissa Tomei, I'm not complaining.
She is a great actress.
But yeah, and it's also really funny seeing both Spider-Man and Ant-Man try to impress their respective leaders, for the lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Because,
and it never stops, by the way. It's
No.
like continuing for the rest of the franchise.
Yeah. Spider-Man sees Tony as a assertive father because he gives him his first suit, he gives him a lot of advice and stuff like that. And then Ant-Man sees Cap as like a leader, and it's
The
just like,
super soldier, the Star-Spangled Man with a plan.
yeah. He's like, I've been shaking your hand too long.
It's really awkward. It's like, you know,
It's like when you're meeting your
favorite
childhood
celebrity.
hero. Yeah.
you just it's gonna manifest in either awkward talking or crying.
Yeah.
And for Scott Lang, it was awkward talking.
Yes.
It was nice having the back and forth between Spider-Man and Captain America. I was like,
He's from Queens.
I'm from Queens, Brooklyn.
Yeah. Also, when Ant-Man also shows off a new power in this movie. Really, Freeze? Really?
That's one of our cats, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what we call a gravity test, where a cat just knocks over something because why not?
But Ant-Man shows off a new ability in this movie. He can grow to giant size, becoming Giant Man.
Now, it is a bit weird for me because the first time we see Ant-Man, the rule is you shrink, you become denser because you still have all your atoms, and so you hit more. Which, a lot of pressure in a very small space. You're basically being shot every time you punch yourself.
Phenomenal cosmic power.
And now I'm wondering, okay, but if you grow the space between atoms grows too, you become less dense, wouldn't you? But again,
Comic books.
science so advanced, it's basically magic.
Alright, so obviously we've talked about both Iron Man and Captain America for a while now. Like, we've almost gone over an hour and a half of talking
wrap it up.
about it. So, I think, unless anyone else has any thoughts, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for listening for the first episode of Marvelous March. Tune in next week. We will be talking about Thor and the Hulk next week. So it'll be interesting.
Who do fight.
Now we're kind of have to condense it a little bit more because Thor has 4 movies, the Hulk only has 1.
But since this was our first episode, we were kind of testing the pacing, but moving forward, we will be condensing more.
Yes.
Now, question before we end. Who do you like more? Captain America or Iron Man?
Captain America.
Captain America.
Iron Man for me.
Really?
I mean, I like him, but his arch went too far.
I love Tony. I love RDJ as Tony
And he
Stark.
created a psycho killer robot.
So why do you like Iron Man as compared to Captain America, Colin?
Because Captain America is a good person. From start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a lot of growth there. But Tony grows. Tony is flawed. Is because he starts off flawed and actually improves over time. I like that.
Okay. And that's fair.
That's a fair assessment. I just like people who don't create psycho killer robots.
Yes.
What is to be better? To be born good or to strive to do better against one's own...
To not create psycho killer robots.
Also,
That's what's better.
Also, it's very hard to stand on moral high ground of a man who survived World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next week we'll talk about Thor Odinson and Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. See y'all next week.
Bye.